Well,
Okay.
let's take that opportunity and hop in, as Alex knows, because he's attended a couple of these. Sometimes people pop in at the last minute or running a few minutes behind. But to honor everybody's time and Anne Marie's good work, let me introduce Anne Marie Werner. She is our director of marketing at Emory Day, and she is responsible for roughly about 2/3 of our entire team. So she's got about 30 people underneath her, and that's part of our delivery mechanism. And she's pretty amazing. She's forgotten more about marketing than sometimes I even think I know. So with that, Anne Marie, do you want to take us in and let's have some fun?
Thank you. I'll be sending you a Venmo shortly for those kind words. Uh, so we do record these and we may use this information in other capacities, email and distribute it everywhere. That's one of our rules, especially with SEO. Create content once and distribute it everywhere. You want to get as much from it as you can. So is SEO dead? It's actually not. It's just changed, and we want you guys to learn how to stay ahead of the curve. So let's see, where are we? I have so many things.
Now, as we go through this, these are typically intimate settings. And while we'll send this out to a bunch of people, we want this to be, powerful and effective for both Mark and Alex and John. So if you have questions, throw them in the chat, or we'll do a little open discussion at the end. But we want you guys to derive the most from this. All right, take a minute.
All right, so Joe's going to give you a little bit of who we are, and then I will dive into the rest.
Absolutely. So for Mark and John, we're Emory Day. We like to think we're the best of professionals, technology, and AI. We've been growing businesses for 20 years. We do full service marketing, which means there isn't anything we don't do. Got about 50 US-based team members. We've built our own lead generation platform, which is very similar to HubSpot, Salesforce. We think of it's a bit of a category killer, has a lot of AI-powered follow-up in it. It's pretty nifty. And we've had the opportunity to serve thousands of clients. Our mission is really simple. We grow businesses. We're having the most fun when we're cost effectively, and that is a key word, using your dollars to provide a comprehensive approach to generate the traffic that converts to customers. We do kind of tuck in all the corners and pay attention to the details. And that's a big part of our success. And lastly, we help businesses thrive. So whether you're aiming to increase revenue or preparing to sell the business, we're most happy when we're able to put you on the board and say, we just tripled this or quintupled that or 5x increase or thousands of quote requests. That's where we love to succeed for our clients. And if you get a chance, we'll share the AI-powered dashboard. AI really is an amazing thing. So it comes in all fruits and flavors, from simple ChatGPT to help develop content, plan campaigns, but then really the power is inside of the sales process and using AI to better follow up, to better understand your prospect, and to even help you pitch your prospect a little better. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in.
Yeah. All right. So what you're going to learn here today, that's what I'll give you a brief overview. So here's what we're diving into. No fluff, just what actually works, what actually matters. First, we're going to talk about the outdated SEO tactics that just don't work anymore. And if you're still relying on some of these, it might explain why results have stalled. Then we're going to go into something called AEO, Answer Engine Optimization, which is really the direction that Google is moving in, and it changes how we need to think about content. After that, we're going to walk through what does work now, the real strategies that are getting results for our clients today, and we'll even give you a simple one-page checklist that you can use to optimize every single page on your website without needing, an extra degree in SEO. We'll show you how to win without having to blog every week. And yes, that is absolutely possible. And finally, we're going to cover how to track progress, so you're not just guessing if your SEO is working or not. So stick around to the end and we'll open it up for you guys to do a little Q&A and give you some free tips and tools that you can use right away. All right. So the truth about SEO in 2025, it isn't dead, but the game has changed, and so many businesses are just still using outdated tactics. It just they don't work anymore. So here's the hard truth. Blogging alone will not save your rankings. We're here to talk about what actually works and what you should stop wasting time on. So 63% of website traffic still comes from organic search. Blogging is not going to save you. It's just doesn't work anymore. Oh, sorry, I think I went past. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a technical issue. All right. And what no longer works. So overloading pages with keyword stuffing, it doesn't trick Google anymore. It's learned our tricks. It can hurt your rankings, if anything. Buying backlinks or using black hat SEO services, it's risky, it's ineffective. You don't want to buy obscure traffic. Again, it's not going to trick Google. They're smarter than that. Publishing low effort blog content in bulk, that doesn't help. In fact, it can dilute your authority. It can have the opposite effect that it did 15, 20 years ago. And then finally, relying on organic search, it just is not going to generate consistent growth. It is something you need to pay attention to, but it is not the full answer. You have to have a full marketing engine that supports all of it. So SEO is great, but it's not going to get you that growth, but it's part of your growth. And here's the interesting thing. I find this interesting. It keeps coming up over and over again. AEO, answer engine optimization. It really is the future of search. Google is not just crawling pages anymore. It's trying to summarize the best answer and feature it directly. So instead of getting caught up in word count or keyword density, you have to start focusing on clear, specific answers to real user questions. It's how AEO is how your content becomes the answer that shows up before the click even happens. And that is something that it's a shift in the way you think, right? And once you make that shift, it'll become more natural in your writing, even in your posts on social media. You're going to start answering questions, and that's really important. Continuing on AEO, so how do you actually implement it? You're going to use headings that mirror how real people ask questions. So when you're creating your web page or a landing page or anything, think about the question that you're trying to answer and how you would type it into Google. How would you ask that question? Right? So that's how you're going to make that shift. You're going to start thinking that way. Structure your content to make scanning it easy. Bullet points, FAQs, numbered lists. The algorithm is really going to pick up on this and present you as an option of an answer to that question. So you really want to start doing it, just start doing the basics there. It's clear, concise answers to specific questions, right? Remember, being helpful is your best SEO strategy. That's what Google is looking for. It wants to reward the clearest answer and the fastest answer, not the longest one. You have to think of Google's job, even though I know they get paid and we all have, feelings about Google. At its base, its main job is to provide the answer to the query in its search engine. If you take out everything else, that's its main job. So, you want to just start thinking about putting that into all of your efforts when you're creating any kind of content. So we'll talk a little bit about what actually works now. Want to use paid search keywords on your landing page, so you're aligning with what people are already searching for. So while you're shifting the way you're thinking about content into answering questions, still remember keywords on your page. That's where your pay-per-click and that's where your advertising campaigns are going to be successful. So instead of thinking of it as SEO keywords, think of it as pay-per-click relevant keywords. Okay, that's one of the tips we really like to stress. Optimize the basics. You have title tags, H1s, alt text, and meta descriptions. This is called structured data. It is your chance to tell Google or any search engine what you want it to know about that page. If you ignore these, you're letting the search engine choose what it's going to present in your organic listing. You have an opportunity here to tell it what you want it to know. Don't miss that opportunity. Okay, that's a really important one, and it's basic, very easy to do. Build internal links so Google sees the relationship between your content. And structure your pages for readability using H1s, H2s, H3s, and use topical clusters, so in sections. And then, of course, do not forget the technical basics. Make sure your site is indexable and it's connected to Google Search Console. It's a very easy step that people just miss. And you don't have to just do it once. Anytime you make any significant changes or add new pages or put out really good content, have it indexed with Google Search Console. It's something that's easy to do and something that's easy not to do. You just have to make the choice to do it. And then here's a little checklist. And we're happy to email this out to you too, right? This is a checklist you can use on every page. Title tags, they should include your keywords and your intent. H1s and subheadings to guide the reader and Google. Again, don't miss an opportunity to speak to Google. You write a compelling meta description, especially if you serve a specific location or industry. This is that opportunity that I was just mentioning, where you have the opportunity to tell Google what you want it to know. Alt tags and file names should describe your images, and you can put a keyword in there. And internal links and your business NAP, name, address, phone number, for local SEO purposes. And then again, always submit new pages to Google Search Console so it can speed up indexing. All right, so that's your checklist to go over each of your pages. And it can feel a little daunting, but just do a couple a day if you have a bigger website. All right. Winning without blogging. So blogging isn't dead, but relying on it as your only SEO tactic is dead. Stop, no more. We don't do that anymore. You want to create a landing page or service pages that are keyword targeted and conversion focused. So keyword targeted is really, think in terms of paid search. If you're going to pay for a click, right? Make sure that those terms are on the page, because they're really going to match your SEO keywords at all times. And then that conversion focus piece. Does the page have an opportunity for the visitor to convert? Or is it just jibber jabber? Is it just information? Are there calls to action? Does the user have an option to take an action? If not, look at your pages. You want to make sure there's an action on there. Start using frequently asked question sections to answer questions your prospects are actually asking. This does go to user experience. It helps the humans. That's us, the visitors. It helps the humans, but it really helps the robots. Okay. It is, even if it's hidden in expanded div, it's still read as structured data on your page. So talk to the humans and talk to the robots. Talk to both of them. Regularly update your core pages to reflect any new keywords, services, or offerings. And a really great place to look for that is if you're running pay-per-click, if you're running Google Ads, look at the search terms that are coming up. And if you see ones that are really relevant, but you're not converting on them, get them on your page. Get them on your main pages. And then, of course, build topical authority through strategic clusters, not random blog posts. The goal isn't to churn out content, it's to build trust and relevance. Put out a video, get comfortable in front of the camera, find somebody in your organization who's comfortable in front of the camera. Turn out content that is actually relevant. You will see the lift. It's impossible not to. All right. So this is how to see your results without guessing. So you don't need to guess whether your SEO is working. It's easy to track it. First, you're going to check to see if your pages are actually being indexed in Google Search Console. You're going to want to start using UTMs on calls to action to know which sources are driving leads. Just as a side note, our Emory Day dashboard lets you track impressions, clicks, and even phone calls. And then you want to monitor impressions, all those, the clicks and phone calls in a tool. Our dashboard is just built to work with your website that way. And when implemented correctly, most businesses see meaningful movement within 30 to 45 days, not months. You have to remember 30 to 45 days doesn't sound fast, but in the world of SEO, that's lightning fast, because SEO is, remember, it's free. It's hard work. It takes time. So, and that's something you can't buy. It's the one thing you cannot buy is time. You can't rush it. You can't buy it. You can't stockpile it. You just sort of have to let it ride. All right. So now I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you have your website handy, drop it in the chat and I'll give you some quick actionable feedback. I'll show you a tool that I use. It's called SEO Meta in one click. I highly recommend you add it to your browser extension. It can show you the stats on your page super quick. You know, I love that tool. I use it all the time. No fluff, no sales pitch, just what works. And then of course, you're going to get that checklist from us, and we're happy to dive deeper into this anytime you'd like post webinar. So thank you. And I open it up to you guys.
So Alex, maybe you'd let us do a little bit with Say It with Stitches.
Sure. I just sent my URL.
Love it. And then Mark, you're with Bar Architects. Is that correct? I just happened to check out your email signature.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just sending the link in the chat.
Well, I have to give you high praise. You're a graphically oriented individual, which is a gift from God. And Bar does some amazing stuff. I really was very impressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there's about 80 architects and interior designers. We do a whole bunch of work in a whole bunch of different sectors. So yeah, we have a wide-ranging audience to reach.
I love it. Yeah, the website's exquisite. The design, just you guys can tell that you bring a lot of passion and a heavy branded in a good way experience. Yeah, very, very visually stimulating. All right. So Anne-Marie, Alex is a pretty amazing individual. He, if my memory serves me correct, purchased this company some time ago. And what's interesting about Say It in Stitches is he serves kind of the wholesale side of the business. So he powers up, more forward-facing, customer-facing promotional companies.
Okay.
So he's the guy and the talent behind the scenes where all of these promotional companies send their amazing stuff to be stitched up and embroidered. And he makes it easy, makes people a lot of money, and in general is really good at what he does.
All right. Just taking a quick look.
I'm just recording and writing that down so that we can put that on our homepage.
Nice.
I love it.
All right, so I'm going to show you my handy dandy tool, and it's actually a curse and a blessing. I do this to every web page, every even if it's just like for my own use. I always check their SEO. Okay, so it's SEO Meta in one click. You see my little S up here. All right. So this is what you're telling Google or search engines. This is what you're telling the robots. This is your structured data. Contract embroidery. Say it in stitches. So my first question to you is, is that your main search term? Contract embroidery. Is that what the human is typing into the search bar?
In most cases, yes. In other cases, they might type custom embroidery or just embroidery. But we're trying to stay away, as Joe said, from the retail customer, from the tennis mom that has 2 or 3 shirts for her kids when they're going back to school. That's not what we do. We work in bulk quantities through distributors of promotional products. So, it's more about, we're more of a manufacturing operation than a retail B2C type of organization.
So what we want to do is run what you just said through ChatGPT and tell it to use these keywords and come up with a title, you know, an SEO title and meta description, so that what you have represented here actually gets you some SEO juice.
Now,
So
and to pay a compliment, you're pretty close, right?
very.
So a lot of times in SEO, we're looking to insert a word like custom inside of that. To Anne Marie's point, we're trying to figure out where the search volume is for our ideal customer. But you're really close,
Very.
meaning we'll open up a lot of websites and it'll be a complete hot mess. I think you're a couple words away from being stellar and perfect, but you're like already have a grade, you know, B+ to A- right there. So no sweat.
So, yeah, absolutely very good. But I look at things from, if you were one of my account managers and I rolled in here, I would ask them these questions. Hey, right. So I'm tougher on you. I'm gonna be tougher on you than Joe. So good cop, bad cop. I'm gonna look at you as you're one of my account managers. You put this together, and hey, what are you telling Google right here? Let's tell them better information. So I'm a little tougher.
I don't mind I don't mind the criticism. As a matter of fact, I welcome it. And as Joe knows, I'm actually paying somebody right now to do SEO for us, and it's not, you know, one of the black hat people from India. It's
Yeah.
so I really do expect these basic things to be sort of covered by them, and apparently they're not. So
Again,
hence
this is
the
Well,
not terrible. It's not
yeah.
terrible at all. I would just I would take advantage of it, just knowing that AEO is not even coming. It's here. We're just, no one's really talking about it yet. So let's take advantage of any structured data we can, right? And
I also want to, in fairness to your current vendor, want to tell you that SEO is a little bit subjective.
Mhm.
So for the last 2 decades, SEO companies have sold based on fear. So they'll come in and they'll say, like, you're doing it all wrong, and here's the only way to do it. And inside of this conversation are a lot of shades of gray. So, you know, what we say and what we recommend, you know, take it with an understanding that someone else might have a slightly different opinion, and that doesn't make us the absolute authority on all of it. It's just what
right.
we've experienced and what has moved the needle for our clients. But yeah, we're never here to really say they're doing a horrible job. You know what I mean? That's not our style.
Yeah.
We are not to take up too much public time here, but the issue that I'm increasingly concerned with is conversion. And you know, if you go through the site, you're going to see it's laced with CTAs and you know, has some good landing pages and such. But those doorbell sounds that I think you might be hearing, and I apologize for that. That is our widget telling me that a new visitor has arrived, and you've had 3 or 4 of those in the course of the last 30 minutes. Okay, I don't know if you heard them. When it goes, Nana,
Yeah.
that's new visitor on the website, including you when you first went on, but they're not really converting. I mean, I'm not getting inquiries, I'm not getting phone calls, I'm not getting emails.
So there's an interesting thing, right? So I'll overshare, but that's the way kind of we roll. So we have a client, you know, who's a video production company out of Chicago, and I won't mention the name, but I'll mention the story. Now she's in the visual medium. So Mark, like you, she has an eye, right? And she does video, not architecture. So she's hyper passionate about video, but she only has 300 visitors a month to her website. And her passion is now currently being misdirected because she is in this constant conversation of, you know, nickel and diming the website. And we kind of go, well, listen, if you have 300 people coming to your website, even at a great conversion rate, you still don't have the lead volume that you're looking to change the business. So some of what you might have, Alex, is a volume of targeted prospects, and we don't know. And this isn't a pitch, but you know, your conversion ratios might be in alignment. It may just be that your traffic is too small in terms of having the right people. So there's a bit of a mix that can kind of happen inside this because you're doing a lot of the right things. So Anne Marie, if you'd slide your little thing to the left if you can. Is that a free form window? Yeah. So there are things that you're doing that are good, right? The telephone number, the get a quote, the contact us, you're making those CTAs available. So when we look at why people aren't converting, we have to look at, where did they start? Where did they come from? What are they expecting? And are we providing them what they want?
Yeah, what is driving traffic? Like, I don't know what's driving traffic to your website right now.
Yeah.
What platforms are you using in to get them there?
It's all
Go ahead.
organic search, and there's we're about to launch some email campaigns with MailChimp. I mean, I have some pretty big contact lists. I think close to 8,000 people who have attended relevant trade shows in our industry and such. Joe, we spoke about LinkedIn. I haven't figured out a way to use that yet. But in any case, I'm open to doing other stuff, and I'm hoping that those sources will actually generate better quality traffic. I think month to date, we've had 13 or 1,400 visitors. Okay. And, our rankings have increased quite a bit along a lot of the relevant terms. People always go straight to price list. I watch it on that widget that you see at the lower right, and I can see where they're coming from and I can see what page they're on. They go right there. And I don't like it because I don't want to be all about price, but as long as they're there, I got to figure out how to convert them from that point.
Yep. And so I'll say a couple things. Number one, we always recommend putting your prices on the website. Now, Mark can't put prices on bar because that's not the way architects work.
No.
But for a commodity kind of style program for you, the answer is yes. Now, here's the question. Let's go to back to that price list. And sometimes scroll down just a little bit. Okay. So are your prices, are they good? Are they industry standard? Are they right in there?
I think we are competitive in worst case. I haven't really done a lot of benchmarking so far in 2025. I've had people say your prices are, on the low side, but if you want, especially in South Florida, to find somebody who pays 5 cents less a piece, who charges 5 cents less a piece, you're going to find them. They're working with illegal labor in a bad neighborhood. The quality of the work is terrible. So for somebody positioned like I am at the high end of the market, our prices are very, very competitive.
So
maybe even
the question that you'll need to ask yourself is a tale of two different strategies, and you can A/B split test it, especially if you're on WordPress. We can run a splitter on it. But here's option number one is that you share your prices. Okay. Option number two is that you tease your prices, but then have them get a quote, right? So, and that's kind of one of the things where, if you're in the range of affordability, showing your prices means that people can go, okay, yeah, that's in the range. I'm gonna take the next step. But the flip side is if you're not in the range, or if how you get to pricing is this kind of complex, complicated, strategy, you really might want to transition to just getting a lead. And here's really quite cool. So we can do something like get a quote where they do a small interactive.
Yeah, that button's not working.
It's not working?
Yeah. That one works. The one in the header is not working. That could have something to do with it. That's
well, try the homepage real quick, because I think his site might be that might be page specific.
No, it's an anchor.
Okay.
See, it's an anchor. Look at my bottom corner.
Oh yeah,
Anchor.
yeah. Okay.
So that could be hurting your conversion right there. Might be something easy. But so back to the quick, because we went off a little bit. And
sorry, I do that from time to time. Squirrel.
All right. So we found a little bit of an option, a little bit of an opportunity to get a little bit better in your descriptions. And then we go to your headers. So here's your another opportunity to tell the robots what you do. Contract embroidery that delivers. That's not terrible. It's not. And then promotional product companies trust us for high quality embroidery that's always on time. Again, not bad, but we could probably do a little bit better with, servicing distributors and promotional product companies, providing, contract embroidery, just getting all those keywords in and telling the robots what you do a little bit better. Our company is H2 is our company that's super nondescript. So that's a great place for our contract embroidery company. The mission of our mission to promise to distributors, whatever. There's places, these are just too vanilla. They're too broad. You have good opportunities to increase some SEO juice, just getting the right keywords in there.
Those are titles that are underneath 3 videos that are on that homepage. I'm not saying that they can't be improved upon, but just so you know what they're for.
Right.
If you go to that homepage, there's 3 videos. If you scroll down, and that's what the titles are for.
Right.
Right
But
there.
for the humans, that's great. But for the robots, it says our company. You could be talking about, selling widgets.
Yeah.
So again, it's an opportunity to talk to the robots. That's how I look at it.
And the page can be restructured so you can make those not an H2. So you don't have to give that high priority to those particular, call outs. They can just be larger text.
Right. So this H3 here, hundreds of distributors have chosen us as their production partner. Their contract embroidery production partner. I'd make that an H2, right? Because it has a better answer to the question, and make these H3s because they don't really have an impact on SEO. So little things like that. And then when we go to,
and it's really just as you can imagine, H1 most important, H2 second most important, H3 third most important. So we're just giving that dichotomy to the search engine.
Okay.
And then we go and look at the images, and there are no alt tags on your images. So alt tags are, again, structured data that the bots can read, and it tells them what your pictures are saying. So you have an opportunity to work those keywords or answers to the questions into your alt tags and into the title. So those are the 3 things I look at the most when I go into my little tool here. Then you can see what links you have, your internal links, which is good. And then you can see your social links, make sure that they're right. So again, I love that little tool. It really does a lot. So that's the basics of, your homepage. There's just a few opportunities to get a little bit better. And then of course, I always look at it on mobile. I hit my F12 and I just kind of see how it looks on mobile, because you get some Google juice for mobile optimization scores as well. So you want to make sure that everything looks pretty good on mobile.
All right.
Yeah.
Any questions before we move to Mark and Bar Architects?
No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Of course. All right.
So prepared to be stunned by a beautiful set of buildings and interiors.
Wow.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, this is a site built entirely in Squarespace.
Okay, so my question is,
Mhm.
are these anchors? No.
Yeah.
No.
And this is kind of one of the interesting challenges and differentials between something that's highly visual, like an architect or an interior. We have a number of kind of visual style businesses. One of them is a company that does retail fit outs for all of the big brands called Hirsch Construction. Mm-hmm. So when you are an architect company, you do want this type of imagery, right? So, there is kind of an inherent difference between Alex's company, which is kind of a block and tackle, let's come and get that promotional contract embroidery going. I want to put it in order. I want it to pump and dump. You know, for
Yeah.
bar architects, there's this massive brand element that needs to come through. They need to see your work. It's supposed to be upscale. So it's always kind of about balancing those two worlds. Like it's, you know, you're going to win jobs based on your reputation and the visual imagery. And that's what gets people to stick. It's like going to Fashion Week. You don't want to see a lot of text. You want to see beautiful models with beautiful outfits on. Now, what we want to do though is still try to find a way to pull in the basics of SEO. So as we scroll down the page,
There is,
you know, once all that beautiful imagery is done,
it actually, I'm not able to scroll down.
we don't have a second page.
No, that's just the landing page. There's 8, like 7 or 8 rotating images. Then you
Yep.
click into,
And is this where you send your advertising to, or?
yeah, or well, sometimes it goes to the landing page, or when we do e-blasts, they tend to go to targeted design sector pages. If you
Right.
click on design,
Yeah. So the bulk
yeah,
of the website,
mhm,
in Marie, as I was kind of surfing around, is kind of in design, people, practice, news, and connect. And
yeah,
here's kind of an interesting thing, right? So there are going to be companies that draw 100% of their business from online traffic. So promotional strategies that bring customers to a website and convert and create a handshake. Architects and interiors are going to be kind of a mixed bag. And what I mean by that is a lot of word of mouth, a lot of referral, a lot of previous past performance, you know, answering
right,
RFPs, getting included. So it is acceptable and not frowned upon that your sites be more light, airy, open, right?
mhm,
So as you know, I'm speaking to the choir. We just want to look for the occasional win where we can. And then since we probably won't have a lot of content on page, we want to make
right,
sure that we're doing a really good job with our imagery and our alt tags. And where we can find content, we want to make sure that we are not stuffing keywords, but appropriately using keywords.
mhm,
Yes. So on this page in particular, this is what you're describing to search engines. Design.
mhm,
We don't know what kind of design, right?
right,
Is it architectural design? Is it right? There's an option there, and then who you are, bar architects in interiors.
mhm,
So there's definitely a chance, you know, an opportunity to get a better description there.
right,
And then this is projects from one of the top San Francisco architecture firms, including residential housing, hotels, resorts, student housing, multifamily buildings, and more. Not terrible,
mhm,
but since there is no, so usually for an SEO rule is 500 words per page is the minimum.
okay,
And we don't have a lot of content here, right? There's not, this is more visual, like Joe was saying, which is acceptable. But
yeah,
unfortunately, the search engines, they don't care. They're looking for what they're looking for, right?
mhm,
So there's not a lot of content on here. And then, but most obviously missing are headers. So you don't have
mhm,
H1 or H2 to give more information. So you can't be an answer to a query if you don't give them the information.
right,
Now, the other thing is, all right, so you don't put any of that, if you don't put any of that information into your back end, into the meta and the SEO,
mhm,
Google says, okay, no big deal. We're okay. I'm going to go to your website and pull it myself.
mm,
You've given it nothing to pull from. There's nothing on your page here to let it even make its own decision about what you do. It's got nothing.
right,
So you have to start feeding the machine a little bit.
mhm,
And your images have duplicate alt tags, which is,
mhm,
you know, the bar on your logo. Hotels and
yeah,
resorts is way too broad.
mhm,
These are all just too broad because they could be office and retail could be furniture. It could be
sure, yeah,
rentals or sales or properties, right? It's just too broad. So what you need to do is give the SEO engines something to chew on. They have nothing to eat here. So that would be my initial thoughts. So now you have a little bit of content here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What could it learn?
Well,
It
the
doesn't have a
typical.
description.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, if you go back to that sector page with the under design, yeah, the UX is so the viewer's supposed to click into one of those sectors, and then you get a whole bunch of projects to pick from, and then you select a project to learn more about it.
So we're
Yeah.
in wineries, restaurants, and clubhouses.
Yeah, and then you would pick one of those.
Right. There's no info. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Where did that go? Which one was it?
Mm.
Too many windows.
I have two.
Well, let's just stare at the dogs for a bit.
Yeah,
So
my dogs.
and what's interesting about our conversation, Mark, is I think you have a beautiful site. So sometimes when we look at it from an SEO perspective, you're looking at it through a very specific lens. But you also have to take kind of a combination of the best practices and, what you do and into a little bit of a balance. Because ultimately what's going to sell bar is the amazing work that you've done, the projects that you've done. You have an exquisite, like when you go into your individual pages, they're exquisite, right?
I mean,
they're
beautiful.
absolutely gorgeous, and they're going to sell like hotcakes because people either want, that serene valley leisure or not. But what Anne Marie's saying is there's always in life and in SEO room for improvement. So can we look at, some of those descriptions? Can we add in a description, especially if we have a really very visual page with a lot of imagery? Can we add in a description? And here's the thing, all of this is a little bit evolving as we go, from an SEO standpoint. One of the things that's always a little worthwhile to kind of complement this exercise is if you take any business and put it into ChatGPT and ask a really simple question, like, what can you tell me about, and then just insert the actual URL. What is returned from that is what an artificial intelligence can discern from your website. As a starting point, that's not a bad place, because if there's holes, then you want to fill those holes. And if it's an adequate and fair representation, you want to kind of feel good about it and take the win. But within that particular piece of the puzzle, there's always little nips and tucks around SEO. But organically ranking, I would imagine a lot of where your ranking is going to come in is from your projects.
Yeah.
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 Correct. Yeah. I mean, we do similar to what you were saying, e-blasts that direct people to certain sectors, Instagram, LinkedIn.
And this is one of those things for our clients that have just exquisite imagery. It should just be plastered like every day in social media, another glimpse at a project. The beauty is all of your projects are evergreen. So if I look at the number of projects, you probably have 20 different categories, and you probably have 100 or so projects.
Yeah.
Right.
Quite a lot.
So especially my mind goes right to this category where you're in the planning. People, this is where I would assume, I'm just assuming this is where the money is, and this is where I can identify a target audience. We do have a land developer who works in Arizona and does this kind of stuff, and this is what's the most attractive, right? Is finding the communities that are looking for this kind of work. I mean, this could fill your coffers for a little bit, like keep you busy for some time.
Oh, we do. Yeah, that's a decent chunk of work. I would say where the money is in the custom homes.
Yeah.
And then at the other end of the scale, there's like affordable housing.
I mean, the pictures are unbelievable. I mean, look at that. Holy cow. Yep.
Yeah,
What
it's a small market group, but that's where the money is. Yeah.
one of the things that might, be some consideration, right?
Mhm.
Might be some consideration is you have that very thin. So I'm going to give you two strategies that are, I think, worthwhile.
Mm,
So if you have 100 projects, right, then you have a daily post 3 times a year. So what I mean by that is your social media feed should think about featuring a product a day. I mean, a
right.
project a day, and then don't be afraid to evergreen it and run the list again.
Mm,
Right. So you can publish on Saturdays and Sundays, but you're a business, so you don't have to. So then you take
right.
52 times 5 days a week, and now you're at 250. So now you're evergreening your projects. And here's the beauty. This is before you even get to the funky, cool, life at bar and our philosophies and case
Mhm.
studies. But your project should just roll, like just every day, another project on Instagram, on Facebook. And then when you get to the end, you just begin it again.
And you have all
Okay.
these great pictures of your people to feature, and you can do like I'm just saying, Jeff, I'm just picking Jeff and put a couple of
Mhm.
projects under him in a collage and
Yeah.
make you more like bring the people to life and show what,
Mhm.
they've done. I mean, there's so much to work with here, so much.
There's a lot of content. Yes.
So
Well, there's a lot of content, but there's nothing. Again, if I'm talking to you as if you were, on my team, I'd say,
Oh, sure. Mhm.
we've got to get this back end stuff is. Come on, we got to get this
Mhm.
all in there. Each page needs it.
Right. Mhm.
So one particular thought, if you
Mm,
scroll up to the top, and I think you have an elegant nav, but right where you have that question mark at the end, you might want to consider, depending on your relationship with your social media, throwing
mhm.
in the icons right after that.
Mm,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So right now,
mhm.
there's no, the
This
only reference to your Instagram and to your LinkedIn is on the context connect
That's right.
page.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, it's not even in the footer.
not terrible, but
Right.
you have 300 on your Instagram. You have 381 posts, 4,260 followers, following
Mm,
768 people. And, you could get more joy out of that by bringing that up potentially in the top right-hand corner.
right. It used to be in the footer. This was redesigned about 4 years ago, and it used to be in the footer, I believe, of the old website, but
Yep. But now you don't
it's
have a
trimmed
footer.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to put it here and a phone number too, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, the work
Sure.
speaks
Mhm.
for itself.
Yeah. Well, good for you for joining what seems like such a dynamic, and wonderful company. You must kind of pinch yourself and enjoy your work every day.
Yeah, no, it's a great firm. Mhm.
I can look at these pictures all day. I love it. I mean, oh,
Well, being respectful for everyone's time, we're at kind of
Mm.
at
Oh, yeah.
10:53. No,
Mhm.
which means we have a few more minutes if there's any kind of pointed questions or on topic, off topic style questions. We're open and we're an open book. Anything we can kind of dive into in our remaining time?
I've got one question. One of our issues is the company name. It's BAR. It originates from the original owners, the uh, first letters of their names. So there's often we get mixed in with bars of
oh, right. You're
yeah.
architects of bars.
That And we thought about changing the URL, but we've had that for so long, we thought we'd lose a lot of traction. So that's kept as is, but that's one of our issues. If people are searching,
Do you think that people assume that you're an architect of bars, or do you think people just kind of aren't doing as well with the name as they could?
not once you get onto the site, onto that landing page, but it's just the name itself. Yeah.
So it's a good question. And do you call it BAR or do you call it bar?
BAR, but not everybody knows that, obviously. And
Yeah.
so a lot of people do call it bar.
You could do
So
B period, A period, R period, and make it super simple that way.
Mm,
yeah.
I wouldn't. I think it's really more so your messaging that you put out there, putting the periods in and making sure your messaging and all your descriptions and everything you're putting out there is more to the architects and interiors
hmm
part of your
Yeah.
business than the name.
mm,
It's really just a little shift in how you start answering questions, right? You're going to start looking at your content as answering questions. And yeah, I just think the periods would help change,
hmm
which is a quick change to the logo.
Yeah, and it's funny
Yeah.
because we both kind of came on that idea at the same time. Anne Marie opened her mouth and squared it out first. But I think, inside that logo, there's a
hmm
room for just a little muted kind of period. And here's the beauty, like it's crazy easy to try, right?
mm,
And so I'm gonna drop a little bit of a knowledge bomb. We have a wonderful company that we work with called Logo Tournament.
okay.
It's about 500, 575, but it's 600-ish. It's cheap in the scheme of things.
Mm,
And you can give them your current logo and say, here's kind of our challenge. You don't have to go for this massive logo redesign,
mm,
but it's amazing what they can come up with. And we might find ultimately that, there's a different way to do it. I think I kind of like your logo, but I was very quick to say bar, right? So
right. Oh, yeah.
I was very quick to say bar architects and interior.
And a
Um,
quick search and replace on your website, changing all BAR
Right.
to B.A.R. is
hmm
yeah.
super simple to do. And then if you do run any advertising or any email, you're just inserting those periods, and it will really immediately give the person a shift into, oh, I'm looking at BAR architects.
Right. Mhm.
Now there are worse crimes out there, so I think we're providing a kind of an answer that's the art of the possible. But the world is is replete with examples of companies that you think their name goes one way, and then the insiders in the know,
Mm,
call it a different way, and
sure.
that's
Mhm.
very common with towns, right? Like I come from Norfolk, Virginia, but
Right.
we call it
Exactly.
Norfolk, Virginia.
I'm
So
from Suffern, New York, Suffern, but I say Suffern.
yeah.
That's it. I'm from Suffern.
Yeah.
So if you kind of try out the periods and they don't land, it's okay. I think we're in high class problems here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yours is about content, getting it out there consistently and constantly, and just really getting your back end in shape for the robots. That's it. Get those bots happy.
Yeah.
Give them
Mhm.
something to eat. Give them something to chew on. Give them a reason to serve you as an answer because you want
Mm,
to be served as the answer,
mhm.
and you'll see, better results.
Yeah. So with that,
Thank you.
I'm gonna kind of say that we're coming up on the hour, and usually people have an 11 o'clock middle of the day. Alex, it's wonderful to be on with you again, my friend. I will send you a meeting invite if you want to, continue the conversation. Mark,
I do.
welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Mhm.
on working for such a dynamic and visually stimulating, exciting place.
Mhm.
And John, this quiet, silent type, but we appreciate you joining as well. And with that, have a wonderful day, and a big shout out and thank you to Anne Marie for a
My
wonderful
pleasure.
job.
Yeah,
I'm
Thank
always
you, Ann.
available, so you can schedule time with me as well.
cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Okay.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye bye.